Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's already 5 p.m. Can you hear me? Okay, I
Yes,
can
we can
see
hear you.
response
We can hear
from
you.
Engineer Sikiru, all the way from UK. Thank you for joining us. Okay, all right. We have been trying to set up with the guest speaker, so seems to be some technical challenges still. All right. Meanwhile, while Dr. Bafred Enjugu, our guest speaker for today's PVT session, is trying to get ready on his equipment, we can start with the introductions. Okay, my name is Musa Rabiu. I'm the ES for the People Expertise and Excellence Foundation, PEEF. We also have joining us soon the chairman of PEEF, Board of Trustees, Engineer Alhaji Bukar, Abdullah Bukar, who I just spoke with him, will be also be on this stream. Okay. Briefly, we will start with the background to the PEF. PEF started in 2016, comprising of subject matter experts across the value chain in the economy. So from the health sector, agri sector, engineering, education sector, legal services, human resources. So we're all in here, and we were registered in 2017. We had our first conference also in 2017. We have since then held 7 annual conferences. And 4 years ago, we introduced the PEEF Virtual Talk series, where we focus on sectoral issues, focusing on thematic issues of critical national concern. So we have talked about agriculture, talk about the TVET, technical vocational education training issue, housing deficit, national security, and recently we talked about the upstream oil and gas value creation, which was facilitated by Engineer Bashir Bello. So today, the focus is on the mid downstream sector, the refinery. We are opportune to listen to Dr. Bafred Enjugu, the former MD of Port Harcourt Refinery Company. Okay. And we also arranged to have the moderator for this session, also an experienced practitioners in the midstream, downstream sector, Engineer Amin Urabe, who has worked closely with Dr. Bafred Enjugu. However, I think he's also having challenges trying to join. The way this webinar has always been set is that you can join without a pass code. But apparently it appears some people are having issues with having passcode. If that is the case, there's an email that was sent to you. Please check it. You use the passcode in there, otherwise no passcode is required. All right.
So I had the same experience of passcode, but like you said, if you just copy the passcode from the email and put, then it works.
Yes, I had the same experience, but managed to get around it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the feedback. Thanks. We need to manage time. Okay. So I will hold forth for Engineer Aminu Rabi, who is the host moderator, until he joins. Engineer Rabi, are you with us now? Okay, I can see him.
Yes, I am with you.
Okay, if you are ready, you let me know so that you cannot step in and take. Okay, please, you are invited now. Please.
Mute.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
You have the floor.
I'm okay. Can I go ahead?
Yes. Over to you, please.
Okay. Good evening or good day, everybody. I apologize for my late coming. I have some problems with the Zoom link. I went one side. I'm supposed to go to the other side. It's my mistake. I'm really sorry about it. And I have so many people who have got their link and they are linked up with us. Now, my job is to introduce Dr. Bafred Enjugu. I'm sure the ES, Dr. Musarabi, must have introduced the subject matter, which is how specifications drive refining operations. A lecture to be delivered by our able engineer, Dr. Bafred Enjugu. He is 7 years old from Nasarawa State. He graduated from ADU with B.Eng Chemical Engineering. He went to University of Aston, UK, where he bagged MSc and PhD in Chemical Engineering. He is a fellow of Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers. For those of us that have been in the refinery for decades, he's one of the best refiners we have in this country. One of the best refiners we have in this country. He worked in Kaduna Refinery as a panel operator, field operator, superintendent, supervisor, up to EDO. Then finally, he retired from Port Harcourt Refinery in 2017 as managing director. Doctor, as you see him, he's a community servant. He works for the people, and he's a farmer. And he loves lawn tennis. He can beat any one of us here. Now, before we continue as by the program, I think we need to introduce, also invite the chairman board of trustees. I don't know whether he has already made his comment, opening remarks. Alaji Abdullahi Bukar. Are you gentlemen with me?
Thank you very much, Coordinator. I'm here with you.
All right, okay.
I too had the same joining problems, but I overcame them. It looks like that we all have to become digital old men. I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting. And I'm very happy that we're addressing an issue which is very topical in the country, because the energy crisis we seem to be in, which is centered around the products that we get from our refineries. So this is a very apt topic, and we have made the right selection, and we're putting people who know it, who will talk it, and who will also be able to allay and answer questions that I'm sure will arrive from the public. So, Dr. Enjugu, you are welcome, and Ravi, you are welcome. And I hand you back over to you. Please, let's get on so that we can have a very good time and people can have their questions answered. So I welcome you all to this event, and I wish us successful engagement and successful event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our board chairman. I've been having calls now, people telling me of having problems with this Zoom meeting. In fact, we registered about over 100 people But I can see we only have 26, 27. And I'm sure they're having one problem or the other. Maybe it's not the conventional Zoom, but all the same, we have to go. Now, in this presentation, we have ground rules. Dr. Bafred Enjugu will speak for 30 minutes, and there will be question and answers only after the presentation. But of course, if you look at the Zoom chat, there is a Zoom chat, you can be able to send some messages. So the meeting, again, is live on YouTube, so we can be able to record exactly what we have been doing. And if there are extra questions that we cannot be able to pick, by the grace of God, we'll attend to them through the YouTube. So over to you, Dr. Fred. Go ahead with their presentation.
Yeah, greetings and thank you everybody for this privilege. Special thanks to the indefatigable Executive Secretary, Dr. Musarabiu, and to the anchor personal friend, at one time my mentor and very good colleagues, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Operations Division, I would say. Also, thanks to members of the PEEF community, PF community, and my former colleagues at the NMDPRA, who, quite frankly, without whom I don't think I would have been, have had the sort of courage that enabled me to perform. My professional colleagues too at the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers, of whom I couldn't be more proud to belong. Gratitude to them. The Chemical Society of Nigeria, CSN, knowing that without chemistry, I might not have had a profession of dignity. And of course, my dear family, who to this age will always stand by me, giving me entire support and sacrifice. For this, I feel profoundly honored. The intention today is to try and bring some clarity to what has been in the public space for quite a while now. We thought, along with some of my professional colleagues, that good ethics requires that we try to weigh in on the issues that have occupied the energy sector. And thank God, PEEF is always there to give us the platform to do that. So basically, I would like to look at crude oil, a little bit of the history at a glance. We show where it goes to, the refineries, of course. And then the main topic being specifications, quality, how we go about that, some of the quality issues, and then the regulation as well. Those who do it, those who would continue to do it, and what sort of harmonized strategy Africa needs. Knowing that both the consumption measured by, if you like, the number of people, the population growth, as well as the growth in the standards of living, has made it quite compelling to look at doing exactly the right things to safeguard lives and to still further improve on the standards of life. Now, we'll be looking at, is refinery profitable? Because there's no way you would escape this sort of platform session without minds wondering whether this is okay. And then we'll have a little look at a global view and then a test case locally. Then there will be recommendations and a compendium of leverages that we have as a country. It's gone. Next. It's frozen. Next introduction. Introduction. Sorry, there's a little glitch, but we'll be there.
Okay.
Save to pleasing, yeah.
Okay, you have to share your screen because we are not seeing this presentation.
We're seeing a frozen picture here, but I'm sure we'd overcome it. Okay.
While Doctor is trying to gather his lectures back.
All right.
Are you okay, Doctor?
Okay, I think we're back now. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
We can see now.
Okay.
All right.
Next slide. Okay, so
it's okay.
By way of introduction, crude oil is a substance that was discovered, or so it says, as far back as 1859 by a gentleman called Edwin Drake in Pennsylvania of the USA. But records also have it that the Chinese were using the substance about 3,000 years ago. So that's a long way away from 1859. Now, at the present moment, at the present moment, we have quite a lot of crude oil sources in Nigeria, ranking us the highest in Africa. Nigeria has a number of refineries that transform the crude oil into products that can be used. Primary destination of every drop of crude oil is the refineries. Now, the refineries, Nigeria has quite a good number. It has 4 that are owned by the government, and then about 6 or so that are private refineries. And there are future plans to bring in
Hello? 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 Sorry, are we together?
I think he has muted his mic.
Who?
The speaker.
Dr. Fred, please kindly unmute. Bafred, please unmute. I'll send him a chat.
unmuted.
Okay, good. Then go ahead. Okay, okay now.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So we did say we started this business of refining, that is taking the crude oil in for processing to useful products as far back as 1965 in country. It was expanded. That facility is located in Port Harcourt. And it was expanded to 60,000 barrels per stream day in 1970. That was closely followed by Warri with 125,000 barrels per stream day nameplate capacity in 1978. And then Kaduna was to follow with 110,000 barrels per stream day.
We can't see your screen. I can't see it. Your presentation, please.
Oh my God.
Once you have shown it, you just keep pushing the
Can you
dot to move forward. Now we can't see it.
share your screen and then you just keep pushing it forward. That's all you need to do. Don't press any other item, it will go off again.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, it's back now. So
Okay.
just keep pushing forward. Don't press any other thing, please. All right, thank you.
Okay, so we were in Wari, which came up in 1979, 78, I beg your pardon, and then Kaduna was to follow in 1980, with an nameplate capacity of 110,000 barrels per stream day. That was closely followed by, in 1988, by 150,000 barrels in Port Harcourt, bringing the total nameplate to 445,000 barrels for Nigeria. That has remained the case since 1988. Right. Right. Yeah, but I need to see the screen. Just a minute. See the screen next minute. Okay, just have to. All right. So of these, you have private refineries, which include the Dangote, the biggest one, 650,000 barrels. And then we have modular refineries. And we also have others, modular, but planning to expand. You will see that I have not. Now, we had a few challenges with specifications in recent years. 1996, 96, we had imported fuel that was characterized as smelly. That was followed in 2020, January, by another case of smelly imported fuel. And then we had this little allegation of sulfur being off spec from our newest and largest Dangote Refinery in July 2024. So, like I said earlier, this is concerning. Definitely, for professionals like us, we need to weigh in and allay the fears of the consuming public. There isn't a soul that doesn't profit or have to use products of petroleum. And the quality concerns are very clear. Once you smell or you see color change, you know clearly that something has gone wrong. In most cases, in nearly all cases, we are looking at sulfur. The presence of sulfur. Sulfur is by far the worst, the greatest culprit to refining products. And it has such an affinity that there's no product that escapes it. The smell, and quite often also the color, they all come from that. But in addition to that, you have this ring compound you call benzene. Benzene has both sides. It has a good side, which makes it a solvent. The detergent that we use is a compound of benzene, but then it also has health considerations. Okay, so go on, next one. To what happened in July 2018, there was what we probably call mass hysteria, serious public concern. And it's just proper that we get ourselves a bit of knowledge on it, because knowledge has a way of allaying fears. Now, we will be looking at quality of diesel, mainly because diesel is the issue that came up. Addition to that, diesel is the most easily abused petroleum product. That's probably because the diesel engines are robust, They can withstand a lot of stress. There are mini bombs that happen inside diesel engines as opposed to smooth gasoline tending to be smooth burning. Diesel engines are very tolerate mini bombs. I think also that the user awareness of diesel is very, very low. You find that just about anybody will take diesel and dilute it. Obviously, when you are adulterating a product, you are using an inferior product to increase volume and make a bit of money. It also has a higher flash point, meaning that you can handle it within some level of safety without getting yourself hurt. Now, there's also regulatory oversight. We have the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. They look after these things, they issue licenses and follow up to ensure that we are staying within check. And we do conduct regulatory, specification checks from the regulatory body. But within the refinery setup, you have very, very solid quality assurance steps to overcome before you get to the product released to the public. We thought too that if you look at the future of refining in Nigeria, obviously, from what it is now, you need a lot of upgrading from the 40 old plants. That is the plants that were built up to 1988 and all belong to government. Due to the factors of climate change and environment consciousness, the standards, the specifications have been reset several times and continue to be reset to ensure that people are able to live properly with this product that provides the energy for living. There's also a lot of ongoing research to improve product quality and also the machines that we use with these products. There was also that challenge of sustainability. What is going on in the NMPC refineries today will tell you that sustainability was not quite a buzzword. Now, I think it's important that we spend a bit of time on the specifications that govern our refining operations. Now, this is because they are critical to refineries. They are critical in terms of not just the product quality, but most importantly, the safety and efficiency across the multiple disciplines that operate at the plant. Now, there are types of specifications. The overarching intent is to ensure that safety of personnel is guarded. So we have codes, specifications, and standards. They can be used almost like synonyms, interchangeably. We have rules and guidelines for safety applying to codes, and it's enforceable by law. I think that's why it stands out. Codes stand out because they have the backing of the law, and you can be prosecuted if you jump these codes. Then you have specifications, which is basically applied to processes or products and used by industry owners, government, and what. And then you have guidelines for professional organizations. They give them the name standards. And like I said, all three can be used interchangeably, but when you use one and you use it diligently, you are meeting the requirements for all the others in all cases. The key ones that apply to our refining processes will be the physical properties like as simple as color. You can see, you can identify an adulterated product by the color. There's also odor. Odor is a product of the presence of sulfur. And then you have distillation fractions that are used to differentiate the various products when they are processing outside the view of the naked eye. You have what we call the end boiling points. Separation of these from crude oil is always based on the differences in the boiling points. Now you have chemical properties. You have things like the octane rating, which is basically an anti-knock characterization. You also have sulfur content, which I mentioned earlier, benzene compounds, and what we call the reed vapor pressure. Now, that vapor pressure is a setting that allows you to create, or to have a vapor created at the point that you are setting up a spark to ignite your engine. And then, of course, we have environmental factors, emission levels, of course, climate change, and air quality, all of which are assuming greater importance or have done in the past 20 or so years. Well, so in the applications in refinery operations, we have the guiding one is the engineering design. In all cases, these are fundamental specifications that are used for the purpose of design to create as much accurate as possible construction methods and operations ways. We also have the project general specification, which defines practically every technical field, every technical discipline. You have electrical, mechanical, civil, and instrumentation, of which the anchor man is known to be a guru. And of course, we have operational training, which we do all the time to ensure that people remain abreast. What tools do we use? We use quality assurance tools. We use maintenance-specific tools, things like vibration monitoring systems that allow you to detect well ahead of time failure modes, likely failure modes, and therefore you intervene to prevent it. Then, of course, you have safety that, quite frankly, can take a discussion on its own without exhaustion. If we do have another chance to do this, I think we would like to dwell on that, because that is key. I alluded earlier that specifications are actually meant to safeguard lives, and safety has assumed a lot of importance in our operations in the past 20 or so years. Then we have quality management systems. We have total quality management, which was something that emanated from the Japanese, although an American claims that he came over to Japan and taught them how to apply it. But the application was clearly by the Japanese. And then we have ISO, the International Standards Organization. I'm proud to say here that of the three refineries, I would say the oldest and the newest, Port Harcourt, is the only one, and the second one in Africa that bought the ISO 9001, 2009 in the year 2015. And it has, quite frankly, a different culture about its operations were you to spend time and make some comparisons. But the ISO is a great tool. It gives you international recognition, and it tells you that you're in the right place where you are. Then the regulatory compliance as well. This, we have it from the NMDPRA. Let's go on to the next one. Now, I did say that diesel is of particular interest to me because that was where it started. In addition, it has a very, very wide range of use. It does not compare in any way with gasoline or PMS or petrol in terms of volume consumed, I think for understandable reasons. Heavier trucks are used. It's not so common here in this country. If you look at about 15 million liters consumed every day of diesel, then you'll be looking at 4-5 times that for gasoline. I've put some figures there to show you what actually happened in terms of the quality of gasoline at the time that I was in service. In 2014 to 2017, when only by the grace of God I was managing director to Port Harcourt Refinery, we did have an average sulfur content of about 1.58, 1,580 or thereabout. And interestingly, our design specification, that is how far we could go without being off specification, had remained 3,700 parts per million. Next one. Yeah. Okay, then we also have the current African specification, which from that 2014 to 2017 was transiting between 500 to 50. That is the specification, not the actual. I've put the actual figures here for Port Harcourt within that period, segment of that period. And it was all in the region of 1,580, thereabout. Next one. Now, why would this be so concerning? I'll look at a typical example, but it's not on diesel. That example is on Jet A1 fuel. The NMPCL refineries, were supplying Jet A1 fuel, that's aviation fuel, to the airlines in Nigeria. And then in 1997, we had a glitch, I would say, where the specification went off in Kaduna. And it went off by, I would say, one margin. It went off on copper corrosion, which means sulfur content. That going off by one, from 1A to 1B is tolerable, but from 2A up, you're not allowed to use it. You need to correct it. And there are measures of correcting it. For instance, you go back and dilute it, or you go the more expensive way to process it, which is usually not always done. Now, if you don't do that, then you have to downgrade it to dual purpose kero. That means kero that you can they stopped taking Jet A1 fuel from our refineries. The local users no longer consumed what they imported. And at that time, we would not know whether there was a change in specification which was not passed down, or it was just a matter of let's import. In the next lecture, hopefully, we'll be able to see some of the difficulties that the refineries encountered as a result of importation. But the household kero to the aviation turbo kero for Jet A1 fuel has a differential of about 12.5% to 15% in cost. So you can imagine how much value we were losing, not being patronized after just one mistake. So, well, we anticipate specification wars, just like what threatened to happen in mid-July this year, where quality was compared from the various suppliers. Now, clearly, it's an opportunity for the refiners to hone their skills with a new specification pronouncement, because it has gone into the public space. And everybody is now conscious of my better is better than your better. There's no question it's going to have a market impact, but there are solutions. I must say at this point that at 1,590, or let's say 1,600, it will be a big struggle to meet those demands for those specifications that are being laid out by the continent. Now, what's the future like? Of course, we're going to remain environmentally focused. There are stricter emissions. People want to live. Everybody understands that you cannot live forever. So people want to live more comfortably with less infirmities than before. All these things came up. And then there are technological advances that we have, such as provided by AI and Internet of Things for specifications monitoring. So it gives you heads up before you get into deep troubled waters. Then there are global harmonization. Global harmonization, for instance, if you are doing jets, then your jet fuel must be good enough so that it doesn't go to damage the space in another country or continent. So that is a push that will make specifications more interesting. Yeah, so we look at if we do get this push and we are on level pegging with other users globally, then it is clear that Nigeria has a very, very big stake here, because the refining capacity is growing, because the African market potential is also growing. Population is growing, and so also is the standard of living, which I said repeatedly already. Well, let's look at the refining capacity in Africa. You would find that you have Nigeria leading the pack at about 1.1, I think, 1.1 million barrels per day. That's the refining capacity. Crude oil pumping, crude production is another story. But because a lot of it is split between what we use to refine domestically, locally, and then what goes out. We have Egypt following refining capacity, and then we have Algeria and then a Libyan. There are others. But we didn't find. There's been quite a lot of discoveries of crude oil in the country of late, and the continent of late. There are many producing countries as well as refining countries. So with Nigeria being at that pack, and let me say, threatening to expand with additional capacity coming from the South Korean consortium of 400,000 spread up and down the country in 4 locations. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I take that with a pinch. Obviously, South Koreans, they say, are people that make Japanese look lazy. That's one description I heard about them about 30 years or so ago. But I do know that they are so serious-minded, and for that reason, they may go ahead with what they are promising to do. But around the early 2000s, they came over, our president, then President Obasanjo gave them 2 oil wells because they said they were going to build in the country. But subsequently, the succeeding governments did not let that happen. And when the ones that came in recently tried to lower them, they refused. But now they are coming back again. It's a consortium now. The previous ones that make that effort were the Korean National Oil Company, KNOC. Whether they will go ahead with it, it's a fingers crossed, but I would say let's make it a prior item. There's the BUA refinery, which is bringing in about 200,000. And there are modular refineries that are estimated to gulp about 200,000 as well. So we'll be looking at quite a handsome refining capacity, which will further stretch, most likely, the distance between Nigeria and other African countries. So there's a unifying factor, a likely unifying factor called the African Refiners and Distributors Association, ADDA. ADDA started about 6 decades ago, but then it was confined to just a few countries. The objectives initially was to clean up the air around the country, the continent, for the countries that were affected. It has now grown in membership considerably from the initial 6 or so to, I'm told, about 52. That leaves maybe just 2 countries out of it. Well, the significance is that it has assumed authority for African refiners, that is energy providers. Now with that, you can imagine if you are sitting on top of the production and consumption, products consumption pack, then you could, if you weave your way properly, you could be playing a dominant role in the fortunes of the energy sector in the country. So I would say that the benefits of energy trade across Africa is something that Nigeria should be looking up to. Nigeria will clearly position itself with what it is in ADDA, the African Refineries Association, which, by the way, has an executive secretary, a very likable person who was a product of NMDPRA, who is serving a second term there. So we have we'll have some leverage. I'm just about getting there. We'll have some leverage there with the presence of this gentleman, Hannibal Krager, as the executive secretary. We have, well, what will he do? nothing bonds people. In my 67 years of not even doing business, I have noticed that nothing bonds people more than business. So the benefits of trade business up and down the continent would definitely include the promotion of unity, global or rather economic growth across the countries.
Hello, Doctor, we are looking at the time. Be cautious of the time. We have question and answers in the next few minutes.
I'm on the last page. I'm on the last page. This is
all right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So thank you so much. It will definitely diminish neocolonization, and it will enhance security or diminish insecurity. If I had a minute, I would just want to add my story about what standards, what compliance can do. Is this the last page right there? That's the last. So if we like, you can say this. You can look at profitability, or is this a good business? And what I did was to say, all right, we are processing about 96 million barrels per day across the whole globe of crude oil, turning them to refined products. You are doing that, and you also the cost is between $3 and $5 per barrel, and then you have an annual revenue which is between 95 and about 160 billion per year in that business. But then after that business, before that business, there are layers and layers and layers of other businesses which you cannot calculate easily. But because it's energy, it means it's everything. Einstein wouldn't have made a name without trying to find a straightforward formula for energy. So what we do recommend for Nigeria is professional operation, specification compliance, safety standards compliance, and then expertise development. I am very, very interested in this because it tends to save not just our image, but it will also save GDP. It will save FX and grow GDP. It will give us a sense of worth, and we will not be pushed around easily. Very last page, very, very last page.
Okay.
Engineer Aminu. Well, so what? We're the largest producers. These are things we can leverage on. We have the highest consumption figures. We have the highest refining figures. Never mind what you said about Nigeria importing more than any other country. We're going through a terrible stretch. I don't think there was a proper understanding of what refining is. But now I think we do. And I hope that what has played out in the last 30-something minutes would have helped to show just how important this is to us. And if we can go to the moon, if we can be really taking the lead in a lot of technological things, I'm sure that we can do the same, where we have a lot of advantages.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
go ahead.
Members of the community, I can't thank you enough for this privilege, and I hope that we can continue to share these energy stories to the benefits and assurance of everybody. So basically, I would say that Nigeria refineries have a bit to catch up with. If you are doing with 1,600 parts per billion, Dangote was below or is below 100. The specification from ARA is today it is 50, and it's transiting to 10 parts per million. While you have the scrubbers gas to liquids, which is within Nigerian soil or Nigerian waters. That one is, they have 4 parts per billion, 4 parts per billion, not parts per million, parts per billion. specification of sulfur, and it's instrumented, meaning that the moment you hit 4, the whole system will just stop. Yeah,
Thank you.
I've finished. It will just stop. So that is where we are. And thank you so much for being so gracious with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Doctor, thank you so much for a wonderful lecture presentation. Everybody is welcome. PEEF stands for respects time management. This whole program is supposed to finish by 6 o'clock. Now we have 4 minutes to 6 o'clock. Unfortunately, some people joined very late. To be honest with you, about 120 people registered, but I can see we only have less than 50 people. And so many places have their own problems. In Kaduna here, I have to manage to come somewhere to link in. The next program is question and answers. I have so many questions from one from Larry Bello, and 2 from Bashir Bello, and 2 from Pascal Igum, and 1 from Ismaila Skiru. I don't know, ES, please, I don't know whether you can give us little time to answer 1 or 2 questions, please.
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. Let's do justice to the issues.
Thank you. Well, please, we apologize. I know that Muslims are going to pray in the next a few minutes, but please, let's do it quickly. Loy Bello asked a question. I think it's a general question he asked, considering the selected refining technology. Kindly assume a given price of crude oil in Naira and use the international refining fee to determine estimated cost of liter of African standard petrol. Take consideration of the products and their commercial value. This question he raised right there at the chat Zoom place. So yes, how do you go about it? Doctor? Hello? Okay, the next question is from, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, the next question, if you can just take it, is from our former speaker, previous speaker, Engineer Bashir Bello, who was with us in NMPC, then he joined Shell, and from Shell he retired. Bashir Bello is asking, I do like to understand the business case for the 4 100 barrels per stream day refineries planned by the Koreans, given where we are with satisfying crude supply requirement of the existing refineries, especially in Dangote 1, in Dangote's on. Are there other advantages of citing this in Nigeria? Then Ismail Skiru said, Nigerian crude has low sulfur content. Why do we have sulfur issue? Then Pascal asked a very interesting question also. He said, please, can someone explain to me why we are paying so much for PMS at the pump, even when Dangote Refinery is producing in the country and incurring 0 foreign cost elements and of no custom duties, right? These are the 4 questions that we have got. We can take them like we promised. These questions can be answered in our YouTube if we don't have much time to answer them.
Okay, very quickly. Okay, very quickly, thank you so much. What I would say, the first question is, I'm hearing the unit price for production. If that is correct, then I have a number.
Okay.
The unit
price of crude oil in Naira.
Oh,
considering
price of crude oil.
Selected refining technology, kindly assume a given price of crude oil in Naira and use international refining fee to determine estimates cost of liter of African standard of petrol.
Oh, okay. To be honest, I'm tempted to say let it pass, but I can just quickly say that there was sometime, I think in 1961, the American president and the King Fahd, I think, of Saudi Arabia sat down and decided that they should go from gold to oil as the international currency. And so since that time, with the partnership between America and Saudi Arabia, crude oil has been known in nothing other than in dollars. If you are going to do that, change it, I really don't know where the economics will run to. The second question is the business case for a 4 times 100,000 barrels per stream day refinery. Well, I did say that by the South Koreans, I did say that they are very serious-minded people. But here's one thing I heard from one of their businessmen a couple of years or so ago, where he said that they made a determination in their Korean Chamber of Commerce that Nigeria, in 40 years, 2 years ago, was going to be the largest city, Lagos was going to be the largest city in the world. And for that reason, they are not going to take a backward step from Nigeria. I mean, if you have many, urbanization is one of the highest consumers of fuel, vehicular fuel especially. So I can see why they are going there from that point of view. But crude supply, that's why I said during the passenger regime, he did start, when they indicated an interest for siting refineries or building refineries here. I think he started by giving them 2 oil wells. I have the numbers, 032 and 035 or something like that, OMLs. But then the government that took over didn't quite like what happened. So that thoroughly angered them and they backed away. So the crude supply is there, is the cost of producing it that is concerning now, because we have 37.5 billion, I beg pardon, barrels stuck out there, and it's still there. So those are my combined views to this. And 400,000, that's not a hell of a lot for what we have in the reserves. Then you have low sulfur. So why, why are we still having the problem of sulfur issues? Well, sulfur, like I said, will stick onto you for as long as you are producing crude oil. But the levels continue to go down. And I'd like to use, thank you for the question, I'd like to use the opportunity to say that I have it on authority that NMPC refineries are rejigging to conform with the standards. And these standards are going like our Chemical Society of Nigeria, people will tell you they are going like in titration. So they go slowly, but surely downwards. And sulfur is very well known. The extraction or reduction process is very well known. Anything you add to the process, you're adding cost, and they would want to minimize that. But the world is quite, would I say, quite brutal about climate change and the environment now. So the technology is there. They will have to find the money. They can find the money, and it will happen. The refineries that we have are definitely working towards getting towing the party line, so to speak. Then you have paying so much for PMS. Kai, this one passed my power.
So, Doctor, hello.
Yeah.
So we
hello,
have
yes.
Hello. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. We have so many questions. One from eBay, the other question from Bella Aliyu, Al Maruf, Kasim, and all other people that ask questions. But unfortunately, we have to close the chapter because the program PEEF, as you know, it respects time management. When we say 5, we mean 5. When we say 6, we say 6. We have to beg the management, the ES in particular, to extend to a little bit 6 minutes. So now it's 5 minutes after 6. We have these questions. It's in the YouTube, and by the grace of God, we'll be able to answer the questions when you link up with PEF in the website. Now, the next is the ES, please. Can you give us a vote of thanks?
Okay, thank you very much, our very amiable host for this occasion, Engineer Aminu Rabi. Thank you so much for facilitating a very exciting, highly informative session by our distinguished speaker, Dr. Bafred Enjugu, the former MD of Port Harcourt Refining Company. It's very obvious that we need another session for you next year, God willing, Q1, because there's so much you can share with us, so much we also need to learn from you that today's session has not done justice for. So we will be available at PEEF to accommodate you again in Q1 next year, maybe March or so that we can take on specifically the outstanding matters from this presentation. We appreciate those who have been able to join us live. Over 120 registered, but we only got about 43 online. So for perhaps a number of reasons, but anyway, we thank you all. We are going to make the presentation material available via email. So, of course, those who registered have their emails with us at PEEF, so they will get copies in due course. It is my pleasure, therefore, to say we have successfully come to the end of our PVT series this year. If you look at the screen, you see how far we have gone with this. Essentially, we have done, you can see we have done 5 or so sessions this year, and next year we're planning to do more. So we'd like to thank you so much, and also to inform that the only activity we have left for this year would be the PEEF annual conference. We will be communicating that from tomorrow. It's going to come up on the 21st of November. It's going to be a virtual event only this year, but it's going to be exciting. The topic will be on the health sector of the economy. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll start communicating on that. Once again, I thank our guest speaker. I thank our moderator. I also thank Chairman BOT and all the participants at this PEEF virtual talk. Thank you so much. As we never, on the questions that have been posted but not answered, we will kindly request the speaker to give us written responses that we can share on the PEEF knowledge sharing platform, so that at least it will satisfy the curiosity of those who have posed those questions. I hope Dr. Enjugu, you'll be able to oblige us with that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As we normally do, if you could just put on your video so that we can take a screenshot. Put on your videos, as evidence that you are at this session. We'll take screenshots. Here we go. Everybody, please put on your, we need to see everybody that has been part of this occasion. Okay. Okay, one more. Okay, we're getting that in. Right. Okay. So on this note, I would like to say a very good evening to you. We have a participant from outside Nigeria, Engineer Sikiru. Thank you so much for joining us. Those from Lagos and all over the country, we thank you so much. And I say until we meet next time, have a very lovely evening. Please also join us at our annual conference on the 21st of November. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you get email information on that. Thank you.
Thank you.